Welcome to Inside the Box. We're reacting today to Arsenal versus Bayern Munich in the Champions League, first tie. What did you think about that, Kukas?
Arsenal are out of the Champions League, I think.
You can't be serious.
No, I'm serious. You guys are out. That's it. I don't believe Arsenal are going to win
Why?
the game. You have to go away to Allianz Arena and win the game there against Bayern team that are incredible. They're poor. Not gonna question. They're bad. They're in a terrible form right now. Probably one of the worst Bayern teams in the past 10 years. But going there in the quarterfinal of Champions League and trying to win the game at Allianz Arena, when you lack the experience to be in the Champions League at this stage, I don't see Arsenal doing it. If you couldn't do it at home, how are you going to do it away?
Okay, can I make my argument? So, I think we're better off playing away and letting Bayern Munich have the ball. Because today their 2 goals came from our mistakes in the counterattack. If we just go there and play a defensive game and allow them to have the ball, they're not going to be as dangerous as they were today. Their danger comes from their wingers and their speed. Both Gnabry and Sané, especially Sané, killed us today, and I don't see that happening. Second of all, Kivior was our weakest link today in the left back. He got killed by Sané all game.
Okay.
Both the goals came from that. The minute we switched to Zinchenko and had more control over the midfield, and what that did was when Zinchenko played, when Kane tried to get the ball and hold up the ball, we had an extra person in the midfield, and it made it more difficult for them to hold the ball.
But that's not because of Zinchenko being the better player than Kivior. What happens is that Bayern were winning the game. They didn't need to go as offensive as they needed to do in the first half.
But they weren't playing offensive in the first half
If Zinchenko
either.
was playing the first half, you guys still get killed by Sané.
I don't think so.
Okay, you would.
I don't.
So you think
because we would play a different format.
You
there.
wouldn't.
Yes, we would.
You would.
Kivior was not coming into the middle at all.
Your
But
concern
Zinchenko was.
Your concern is counterattacks. You got killed by counterattacks.
Yeah, but I don't see that pass from Gabriel going to Zinchenko, because Zinchenko would have been in the middle. It would have been an easier pass for him, because he when he passed it back under pressure, first of all, he should have just kicked it out. That was a mistake by him. Raya put him in under pressure because he came out too early, and then put him on under pressure. But as a center back, experienced center back, you should just be kicking it out there.
I mean,
but if you were trying to pass it back,
it was an easy pass.
It was an easy pass. He misplaced it, but what I'm saying is Zinchenko would have understood in that, and he would have sensed the danger. He would have put himself in a position where, even if Gabriel made a wrong pass, he would still be in there.
I know, but your entire point is that Kivior got killed by Sané's speed.
Okay.
It's not like Zinchenko wouldn't get killed by his pace. It would be the same scenario. It doesn't matter. It's not about Zinchenko. It's about the fact that...
But that's not how they killed us. It was because of our mistakes that killed us. We would avoid those
you're
mistakes.
You're looking at one episode.
Okay.
Overall, if Sané wants to kill you, he'll kill you no matter if it's Zinchenko or Kivior. It doesn't matter who
Not if you have more control of the game and you never give them opportunity. We lacked control. So we started the game, first 12, 15 minutes, we were dominating. Saka got his goal, and then Ben White was clear with the goalie and just kicked it straight at the goalie. Anyone else, it would have been a goal. It just, you had a defender, a right back in that position, and he's not familiar with that position. So anyone else, we would have been 2 up, and then game over. Instead, no, it's not game over now, obviously. But after that one mistake brought Bayern back into the game. But we still felt like we were the better team on the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, you were,
so,
but it's Champions League. You cannot make those mistakes.
Well, that's why. But then we didn't lose the game. That was the key. If you're not going to win the game, you can't lose it.
I know, but isn't that kind of a loss because it's not the result that Arsenal wanted?
Okay, yes. Going into the tie, I would have wanted to win at home. That's 100%. What frustrates me is before the tie, everyone was giving Arsenal way too much credit. Yeah, I would say way too much credit, and Bayern Munich, they're putting them way too much down. Bayern having the worst season of the last 11 years. Their players are still really good. The problem is Bayer Leverkusen have been so good this year that they have overshadowed Bayern. Bayern are not that bad attacking wise. If you look at their stats, how are they terrible?
Because they lose games when they win 2-0 to one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, the last week stretch has been a tough time for them.
It's not just last stretch. They've been poor the entire season. Defensively, their transitions are bad. They have no...
Defensively, they're bad. Then we scored 2 goals because of that. That's not the problem. It's the attack that we didn't stop.
But it's not like their attack was brilliant.
Their counterattack was brilliant
It wasn't
today.
brilliant counterattacking
You
football.
telling me Sané was not brilliant today?
That was not brilliant. It was an okay performance by Bayern. What happened is that you guys made 2 mistakes and 2 goals happened. That's all that was. Bayern did not have a good
Okay, so if Bayern are not that good and they didn't have a good game today, why are you thinking that Arsenal have no chance?
Because it's Champions League and the stadium you perform at is a big difference. Going to Allianz Arena in a quarterfinal of Champions League when Bayern's only hope of having a good season is winning the Champions League. They have nothing to lose in that game. They'll be going so confident in that game.
Neither does Arsenal. Arsenal have already, in terms of the Champions League, they've performed this year.
Arsenal are going there under more pressure.
Why are they under more pressure? I feel like this game they were more under pressure because everybody was saying, they're playing at home. This is like no fans from Bayern are going to be in the stadium, so they have the home advantage. They're the better team. That was all the pressure going into this game. Plus, they had, 3 days rest?
It doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but it's clear that all the pressure was being able to play. Now it's like they've played a game against them. They've learned how Bayern are dangerous. They have more experience from just that one tie. It's the same situation with Porto. The first tie, we got outplayed by the way that they came at us, and we weren't familiar with Porto. The second game, we came back and we won.
I know, but
I know the whole away advantage, but Arsenal do well away.
Yeah, in the Premier League.
Okay, yes, we haven't had no experience in the Champions League to prove it to you.
I know you guys don't have experience. That's my entire point. That's why you guys are gonna go out of Champions League because you don't.
Don't see it being so easy.
You don't have the experience to deal with Bayern at home. As much as poor as they are, you guys don't have the experience, and Arsenal should have won this game.
Let's see if we make those same mistakes, because I just don't think we will.
Okay, you might,
because we would learn from that, and we would play differently to avoid those type of mistakes. We're not going to be as aggressive at Bayern Munich, and that's going to play into our game plan. I think that's going to be really effective. Actually, more effective than it was today.
Your belief that Bayern are going to have the ball and play offensive? No, they're not going to. They'll sit and play counterattack.
We'll see about that.
It's Tuchel's teams. He doesn't always insist on having the ball. He understands that if he gives Arsenal the space and everything, you'll have problems.
We'll see.
I just think Arsenal...
But okay, the first 10 minutes, we scored a goal. If you give us the ball, eventually we're going to score goals too. It's not like Bayern Munich was preventing us from scoring chances. We should have had like 3 or 4 goals.
I know, but it's just this...
And that was a penalty,
this
by the
game
way.
showed that Arsenal are mentally not ready to be in Champions League at this stage. It just showed it. And again, when you say, yeah, you guys are the better team, I get it in every single aspect. But it seems like mentally you guys are just not there, so I don't see Arsenal. I
don't think it's a mental thing.
It is a mental thing. When you're winning 1-0 and you're full control in the game, and then one slide...
That's just Champions League. That's not mental. You saw how...
Yeah, well, I'm saying mentally, I mean like in Champions League, you saw what happened.
I think it's just when you play against really good teams, anything can happen. No, that's not mental.
No, if the episode with the first goal when Raya comes out and that confuses Gabriel, if that happens in Premier League, he's not going to get confused. Gabriel will deal with the situation much more calmly. He'll keep the ball, play with Raya, even though Raya was... He could have played with Raya first of all. He didn't have to panic there.
Okay.
If that happens in the Premier League, you guys are not going to concede the goal. But because that happens in Champions League, it's nerves. And the mistakes happened. Same thing with the second goal. Saliba goes into a very unnecessary challenge. He doesn't need to go into that challenge. It's very unlike Saliba to go into the challenger when he's not going to win the ball.
You're not playing Leroy Sané every week in the Premier League. People are underestimating how good these players are.
Doesn't he play with Haaland? Doesn't he play with Foden?
Haaland is not as fast as Leroy Sané.
Doesn't he play with Foden? It's not about...
None of those players have the pace as Sané.
You're focusing on a specific attribute. He's still...
Because that's what the attribute caused the
No, that's
situation.
not what it caused. It's his panic. He panicked with that tackle.
I don't know. I don't see it that way. I see that mistake was Kivior's. He put him in those positions, and dribbling Leroy Sané coming at you, anyone is in danger. Even Saliba being one of the best players
when you
in
say,
the Premier League
when you
as a
talk
center back.
so big about Sané, he's been very average this
Yeah,
season.
but not today.
Because Arsenal made
That's
him
the
look
thing
good.
about the Champions
But
League.
that's my point.
You can't look at the overall season, Lucas, and say,
Yes.
oh, because Leroy Sané hasn't been good. As a player, he's amazing. Just because he hasn't performed in the Bundesliga doesn't mean he doesn't perform in the Champions League. That's the thing about the Champions League, is that players look forward to this game and they bring their best game.
My entire point is that
Yes.
Arsenal, the reason they didn't win today is because they panicked. Because
I don't think we panicked.
You panicked.
I think we had Bayern clearly had the more experience. They came with a better game plan. They did a better good job at what they
don't
came
think
to
so.
do. They played a
I fully
4-4-2
disagree.
defensive system, and the minute that we made 2 mistakes, they scored. Other than that, they had 2 shots on goal. They had 2 goals.
Can you tell me
Yes,
which part of the Bayern's game impressed you today? Their defense?
the
No.
counterattack, how fast they were, and how quick they reacted.
But I don't remember a single good chance they created besides hitting the post. That was like a
How
good
about the
counterattack.
Gnabry shooting it a little bit
Was that a
higher?
chance?
That was a chance.
That was not a chance. He wasn't going to score from there. He was very well
Or
controlled.
how about when Leroy Sané came out 1-on-1 and Ben White was running back?
Okay, that may be a chance, but it's...
That's
but it
those
was
are
still-
all counterattacks.
But it was still well controlled.
Okay,
when you
let's
say-
get to the very end of this because
The
penalty.
Not penalty. I
to
don't,
me,
I don't
to me, initially, I didn't think it was a penalty. I looked at the replay and I didn't really look at how Saka was looking at the goalkeeper or not. I felt like with the only looking at the replay, I didn't think it was a penalty. But looking at it live, to me, it looks like a penalty. To me, it seems like Neuer is not playing the ball and he puts his leg out. And Saka also is looking for the contact, but I also think Neuer is not going for the ball. So it's a 50-50 challenge, and it could be a penalty. If they called a penalty, I wouldn't be surprised. Let me just say it that way.
I don't think it's a penalty because simply for one fact is how far out Saka puts his leg to get the foul.
That's just, to me, you think it's him putting his foot
Definitely.
out. I think it's him trying to pivot left, and when it's a natural movement.
It looked very unnatural the way he sticks out his leg, specifically looking for Neuer. That did not look like a natural movement. You trying to avoid the contact. No, he was looking for contact. He wanted that contact. And the second part that Neuer doesn't really stick his foot out way too much for Saka to hit him. It clearly looked like Saka could have stayed on his feet and finished it off. I don't know why he decided to go down.
When he got the ball and his first touch, he dribbled left, and that left dribble, his first touch, didn't bring the ball forward. It went backwards, and so because it went backwards, he had to stop and pivot right away.
Yeah.
And when he tried to do that, he got elevated a little bit, and that's why, because he. In a split second, he looked at how fast the goalie came towards him, and he didn't have an opportunity. Like, the space was completely gone, so he couldn't land on the ground at that point. That's my argument. That's why his foot was so high. So I feel like it's 50-50. The way I see it is, if Bayern got that same attacking moment against us and it was called a penalty, I wouldn't be arguing it. And so I think it's fair to say that I feel like it's a penalty.
I'm just against the fact that every time the striker looks for a penalty, he gets the contact, it's a penalty. If you're looking for the penalty, if you're going to stick your foot out towards
We have to remember,
towards the defender.
he's a goalkeeper.
I'm just... No, it's not me being biased or anything. But if you're going to...
You're always biased towards goalkeepers.
But
You're always going to defend goalkeepers, let's be
Because
honest.
if I'm coming out as a goalkeeper and I'm standing in front of the attacking player and all he does is basically stick his foot out towards me to get the foul,
Yeah.
it's never a penalty.
Okay, so I think Arsenal have a chance in the next tie. I think if we go in there with the better game plan and we control the nerves, which we did similar to Porto the second time, we were much better. I know we're not going to be at home, but Arsenal do perform pretty well away. And I like to think that we have the composure and the experience that we've gained this year to be better positioned to do well in this game. I don't see us going there and dominating Bayern. I see us going there and being a scrappy team that's trying to get a result. And if we have to settle for the draw and go to penalties, we have to do it that way. That's how I see it.
So
you can't concede. there. If we concede a few goals there, I think it's tough.
So your score prediction, final prediction.
My score prediction is 1-0 to Arsenal.
Okay.
1-0 to Arsenal. We go in there, we park the bus.
Sure, because that's what Arteta does usually.
No, he doesn't. But I just think that we'll be better defensively the next game. We understood the danger of this game, and we will. We might even bring in Tomiyasu. We might switch it up a little bit for next week and see. I feel like Arteta is going to go back to the drawing board, and he's going to figure out a different game plan to go into this. He always does well in that second tie. So
okay, I'm not gonna argue with you.
Predict yours. You said that there's no chance Arsenal's gonna win.
I'm not saying no. Okay, no chance, maybe exaggeration, but I'll say Bayern are the favorites, and I'm gonna say 2-1 Bayern.
By the way, he predicted 3-0 today that Arsenal were gonna win.
I had no idea.
His predictions are always wrong.
Because every time I predict Arsenal to do well, you guys don't do well. It's not my fault.
Let us know what you guys think the score is gonna be in the second tie, and let us know in the comments.
2-1 Bayern.
1-0 Arsenal. Let's go.
Let's go.